Just doing a video now on the solutions to yesterday's questions, or Friday's questions on the test. So, very first one that I came across anyways, you have to simplify the following. And it's a list of just algebra terms. So x minus 2y minus 2x plus 3 minus 5y plus 2x minus 4. You can only add and subtract like terms. So there I see an x, I'm down 2x, up 2x, so they're gonna cross off, so I'm left with x. I am now looking at y's, y. So I'm down 2y and I lose another 5y, I'm down 7y. And then last is what's left are just numbers. I'm up 3, I'm down 4, I owe 4, so I owe 1. And sorry, I took that down wrong. That's a plus. Okay, that was a plus there. I took it down wrong. So that's plus 2y minus 5y gives me minus 3y. And I think that was then option, the fourth option down. The next question, substitution. It says x is equal to 2, y is equal to minus 3. Find the value of xy squared. Now the square is only on the y. And because I have a few things here that I'm not sure where to start exactly, then I'm going to follow my BIMDAS rule here. So x is a 2 and x times y squared. So now the square is only on top of the y. You know, it'd have to be written differently if you were to, you know, square everything here. So is there anything to be done in the brackets? No. Is there any indices? Yes, that needs to be done first. Minus 3 squared. Well, to square something is to multiply it by itself. So minus 3 by minus 3 is 9. Now you also had the option of just entering that carefully into the calculator and you would have gotten 18, which I think is the third option down. Next question I come across is to do with factorising, and they want you to factorise 7x minus 21y. So I'll put it into the box there. What do they have in common? Well, they have the number 7. Anything else? No. And I think that was the very first option. Then the next thing is they want me to factorise x squared minus 25. Again, you could start off with the little box here. Do they have anything in common? No, so that means I'm going to go into the bigger box. Now, some of you will know straight away what the factors are, or maybe you're just looking through your options and you can tell. But, you know, I'm going to try and, that's x squared something minus 25. So factors of, I guess I can put in a 0x there. Factors of 25 that subtract to give me 0, so that's 5 and 5. And then x is common, x plus 5 and minus 5. So my two factors, x plus 5, x minus 5, and I think that was your third option down. Next one. X squared minus 1x minus 6. So this is going into the box. The x squared is going in here, the minus 6 is going in here, and then we need to split the middle out. So factors of 6, so 1 by 6. Factors of 6, well, we have 6 by 1 or we have 2 by 3. So 6 by 1, do they subtract to give me a 1? No. 2 by 3, does 2 and 3 subtract to give me a 1? Yes. So that's going in as a 2x and a 3x. Now you need to be really careful with your signs. What sign? So if that was a minus and that was a minus, I'd be a minus 5x. No. If that was a minus and that was a plus, no, that's not right either. If that was a plus, and that was a minus. I'm up 2x, but I owe 3x. Yeah, that's it. So now that this is done, just start. X plus 2 is one factor, and x minus 3 is the other. Again, slow down the video if I'm going too fast here. I'm just doing out the solution, so I can explain anything in more detail if you want. Next one that I come across is solve a simultaneous equation. X plus y equals 7 and 2x minus y equals 2. I notice that if I add my lines there, the y's are going to go, which is what I want. So that's 3x. They are opposites, so plus y and a minus y are going to cancel each other out, and that gives me 9. So 3 times what number is 9? X is 3. So that automatically erases an awful lot of options for you. And then we go back to the top here. X plus y is 7. We now know that x is a 3. 3 plus what gives me 7. Y is 4. Now that's just one option of doing it. And that was the very first answer on the list as well. We now want to solve an inequality. X is a natural number. So now you go to your log tables. There's a page that tells you what natural numbers are. It gives you the list. 1, 2, 3, ... Here's your list of natural numbers when you go to your log tables. I'm going to treat this like it's an equal sign. Okay. There's only certain things that you can't do with this sign here, so I'm just going to treat it as though it's an equal sign. 5x is less than or equal to 12. Divide by 5. X is less than or equal to 2.4 maybe. Let me just check that. 12 divided by 5. Yeah, 2.4. So x has to be a natural number. So what are your list of natural numbers that are less than or equal to 2.4? So just 1 and 2. And I think that was the fourth option down. Next question is solving for x. They don't use that wording, but that is what I'm doing. I'm trying to find the value of x. So, you know, even if we go back to the start of how we first tried to do equations, tell the story. I have a missing number. Multiplied it by 5 and I divided by 3. Reverse that. What's the last thing that I did? So I'm going to say it again. I had a missing number. I multiplied it by 5 and I divided by 3. The last thing I did was divide it by 3. So do the reverse. Multiply by 3. Reverse your story in order to get back to the very start. Now some of you would know this maybe faster than the way I'm doing it. That's perfectly fine. I'm just showing you that if you're ever stuck in a question, go back to the basics. So now we reverse the last bit of the story, which was dividing by 3, because we've multiplied by 3. We now need to, so I had a missing number, I multiplied by 5, so now we need to divide by 5. X is equal to 3. And that was the very last option on your list. Solve for x. 5x minus 1 is equal to 3x plus 5. And I'm going to add 1 to both sides. I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. And I'm going to divide by 2. There's my answer to that one. And that was option number 2 on your list. Now we're going on to coordinate geometry. Find the slope of the following line. Loads of ways of doing this. You could try and find points on that line. You could go to your log tables and see if there's any help there. The way that I'm going to do this is that I'm going to isolate the y. So if you go to your log tables, it says this. If you have the equation of a line, if you get the y all on its own, then whatever is attached to the x is your slope. So I'm going to try and get the y on its own. So I'm going to add 4y to both sides. That gives me 3x plus 1 is equal to 4y. Now the y has to be completely on its own, so I'm going to divide by 4. So that's 3/4 x plus 1/4 is equal to y. Now that the y is on its own, look at what's attached to the x, and that's your slope. So there's my slope, 3/4, and that was the very first option on your list. There was a computer game, and it had buried treasure located halfway between, it was a palm tree and a corner of a stone or a large boulder. Your 2 points were, the boulder was at 25,175, that was 1 point, and the palm tree was at 275. Halfway is the midpoint, the point in the middle. So you go to your log tables, you get your midpoint formula. Sorry, that's meant to be a comma. So always take down your formulas carefully, and then if you look at the diagram in your log tables, it tells you how to label your points. So your first point, you can call it x1, y1, x2, y2, and then bracket x1 is 25 plus x2 is 200 all over 2. Always going to be a 2 on the bottom because it's the middle point, the point halfway. Y1 is 175 plus y2 is 75 all over 2. Throw that into your calculator and you, I think, get the 112.5 comma 125, which is your very first option. That's the point in the middle where the treasure is buried. The next one I come across is find the slope of the following line. So you could do it by the y equals mx plus c, because it's very straightforward, but maybe you want to do it by finding points and using your slope formula. So I'm going to do it both ways here. So if x is 5, then y is 0. So 5, 0 is on that line, and 0, 10 I think is also on that line. x1, y1, x2, y2. Get your slope formula is from your log tables and carefully fill it in. y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1 gives me a slope of -2. So just throw that into the calculator and you see. If you want to do it by y equals mx plus c rather than this method, you need to get the y on its own. I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides, and I end up with y is equal to -2x plus 10. When you have it in this format, just look at what's the coefficient, is the fancy word, of the x, and that's your slope. So no matter which way you did it, you would have gotten that answer, which was, I think, last on your list, the -2. Same line in the next one that I'm coming across here. Where does it cut the y-axis? Well, if I've done it this way, then I can actually see that's where it cuts the y-axis. Now it says it asks for the point where it cuts the y-axis, so you needed to give the point 0, 10. If you didn't do it that way, you know, isolating the y and having a look here and seeing that this is where it cuts the y-axis, maybe you decided to use your head and go, right, okay, it's minus slope, so it's going this way and it's going to cut somewhere around there, let's say. Now we don't know until we draw it out properly, which we actually could because we have 2 points here, so 0, 10 and 0, 5, whatever. But how do you find out where something cuts the y-axis? Well, what do we know? Any point here is always going to be 0 something. So the x-coordinate is always going to be 0. Now, there's a video on this. So if I'm going too fast here, just go back to the video that tells you how to, or talks about how do you find where a line cuts the x or y axis. So it wouldn't matter if you did it this way or this way. You should get the same answer, which is 0, 10, because it asked where the point where it cuts the y-axis. A point always has an x-coordinate and a y-coordinate. Next, find the equation of the line that contains the points 1, 4, and 7/10. Well, I'm going to go for the first formula that I come across in my log tables to do with the equation of a line. Y minus y1 is equal to m bracket x minus x1. Y minus y1 is equal to m, the slope. I actually don't have it yet, I'm going to get it in a minute, bracket x minus x1. How do I get the slope? You go to your log tables, you get your slope formula. This is only just one option for me, it's the fastest option. y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1, which gives me 1, so a slope of 1. So that's y minus 4 is equal to, multiply this out, 1x minus 1. And then you can just move it around. Like if you look at all your options, they don't look like this, so we need to tidy this up or move things around. So I'm going to subtract y from both sides, which gives me minus 4 is equal to 1x minus 1y, or minus y minus a 1. And I'm going to maybe just add 1 to both sides. And I end up with x minus y equals minus 3, and that is your third option on your list in the multiple choice exam. Here we're given 2 points. In the next one, A is 1, 1, and B is minus 3, 4, and they said find AB. Now if you didn't know what that symbol means, then you'd go to your log tables and you'd see if you can find it there. It means distance. Okay, so go to your log tables, get your distance formula. Carefully fill it in, throw it into the calculator and press equals. So x1, y1, x2, y2. Square root of x2 minus x1 to be squared plus y2 minus y1 to be squared. That gives me the square root of, so that's minus 4 squared plus 3 squared. Minus 4 squared is 16 and 3 squared is 9, so that gives me the square root of 25, which is 5 units. So the distance between them is 5 units, and that was the very last on your list as well, I think, option. Area and perimeter. What is the circumference of a circle of a diameter of 10 centimeters? So the diameter is 10 centimeters. If you notice your log tables, none of the formulas in your log tables ever use diameter. They always use radius. So the first thing I'm going to write down here is that the radius is 5 centimeters, just in case I want to use any of those formulas in the log tables. Find the circumference of a circle. You need to get the formula, and it's 2 pi r. So that's 2 times pi times the radius, which gives me 10 pi. And I guess I'm going to try and be as accurate as possible. So what's 10 times, there's my pi button. Now 31.415. So 31, the closest to the one that I have there to any of those is 31.41, which is your third option. Now it's not exactly what's here, but it's the closest option that I have on my list. Next one. You had this type of shape, a square, and it's like that. I'm drawing it very badly. That was 10 centimeters, that was 12 centimeters, and these were colored in pink. And they want me to calculate the area of the pink. So how do we get area of a triangle? Go to your log tables. I think it says half AH, and all that means is half the base by the h is the perpendicular height if you look at the diagram that they give you. So I'm going to turn this on its side. Half the base by the perpendicular height, 6. That gives me 30. That one here is 30. And this one here is also 30. So we have 60. 60 units squared, or square units, which is the third option down on my list. And the next one, we have a circle inscribed into a square. I won't be able to draw this very well, but like the circle touches off edges of the square. Okay, and it says the area of the square is 16. Well, how do you get area? You get area by going length by width. Now, what do you know about a square? Well, they have to be the same, so it has to be 4 centimeters in length and 4 centimeters in width. Which means the diameter of this has to be 4 centimeters, which means the radius has to be 2 centimeters. So, oh, and that's it. That's what they're asking. Oh, Sky. Oh, good girl. Sorry. Next one, the area. It says the area of the square below is 16 centimeters squared. So this is actually a lead on from this. What percentage of the square is occupied by the circle? So if we have a look here, we need to get the area of the square. Right, well, we were given that, 16 centimeters squared. Now we need the area of the circle. Go get your formula, pi r squared. So that's pi times the radius squared. Gives me 4 pi. I'm going to again throw that into my calculator. And it turns out to be 12.56637061. Something approximately like that. So what percentage of the square is occupied by the circle? So it's the 12.56637061 all over 16. That gives me my fraction. Multiply it by 100. And you have your percentage, which is 78.53, blah, blah, blah. Which the option closest to that is the very first option on your list. And then we did geometry. An axiom is A, a sequence of logical steps, B, a statement we accept without any proof, C, a rule that has been proved by following a certain number of logical steps, and or D, a statement that follows readily on from a previous theorem. It is B. An axiom is a statement we accept without any proof. It's a statement that just makes logical sense when you think about it. And then the next one, there's this diagram that goes with it. You've like 2 parallel lines there and a third parallel line down here. Oops. Then there's a line there, that's 115.